and let us all do we can to build a better future.
Migrants are once again being used as political pawns by the Democrats and Republicans. Now, the thing is, there's a reason why we have a migration crisis at the border. It isn't that just one day people decided to leave their home country and come to America. It isn't that they just came here just to cause trouble. No, that's not it at all. There's a more real reason why this is happening. In Central and South America, the United States has been instigating and causing civil wars and coups, regime change wars, economic sanctions that have been causing political instability, economic instability. We have this ridiculous war on drugs that has given rise to these very dangerous and militant cartels. And the people who are caught in the middle are unfortunately, the civilians. People who have to struggle day in, day out just to survive. Now, maybe this might be difficult for maybe liberal voters, diehard Democratic voters, diehard Republican voters to imagine, but put yourselves in these migrant shoes. You have political and economic instability. You're trying to raise a family. You hear about this country up north called America where, hey, if you work real hard, you can make it. And that's a good belief to have. I'm not against it. It's a very good belief to have. If you work hard, you can make it. Just don't work until you're dead, right? Because everyone's biggest regret on their deathbed is, oh, I wish I didn't work so much, right? But unfortunately, previous Democratic and Republican presidential administrations have been systematically instituting harsher laws. Most notably was the construction of the cages where young children being put in. Now, no, it wasn't Trump who built those cages. He found them, though. You could thank another president for creating that, him and his vice president. You might not know them, but their names are Barack Obama and Joe Biden. President Barack Obama, Vice President Joe Biden. Yeah. Those institutions and facilities that are south of the border, that wasn't Trump who created it, even though he gets the blame for it. He's not the mastermind or the architect. That was done by the previous administration and other administrations that laid the groundwork for this nightmare scenario. Earlier, sometime in the summer, the governors of both Florida and Texas were sending migrants to sanctuary cities, to Chicago, New York City, and I think we all saw the ridiculousness at Martha's Vineyard. Hey, I wonder if those people from Martha's Vineyard ever followed up on those migrants. Probably not, because those were the kind of individuals who have on their houses saying, we don't say hate in this house. We're very tolerant in this house. Well, now once again, Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott sent refugees who were from Central and South America and the Caribbean, were loaded onto 3 buses and dropped off in front of Vice President Kamala Harris's home in sub-freezing conditions. That's absolute pure evil. And as far as I'm concerned, don't forget, it was the oh-so-wonderful Kamala Harris who said, don't come. Do not come. Ugh. Sorry, every time she talks like that, I can't help but think of the other video where Trump says, I'm going to come. So there you go. Here's migrants dumped in front of the Vice President Kamala Harris's home. In an act officially sanctioned barbarism, as many as 140 migrants were dropped off by buses in front of the official residence of Vice President Kamala Harris on the night of Christmas Eve, the coldest on record in the Washington, D.C. area. On the orders of Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott, the refugees, mainly from Central and South America and the Caribbean, were loaded onto 3 buses and shipped like cattle from towns in Texas along the border with Mexico to the U.S. Capitol, a grueling journey of 36 hours. They were routed from their original destination, New York City, due to poor road conditions resulting from the freezing temperatures. Children and babies were among the migrants, many of who had only T-shirts, shorts, and light blankets to protect against the below freezing conditions, with temperatures dropping as low as 10 degrees Fahrenheit. A good number were shoeless. It's going to stop right here. Someday, the United States is going to need help. And the way we're treating people, migrants, people who have no power whatsoever, it's going to come back to haunt us. And you can thank our politicians, both Democrat and Republican, for doing this, for playing this back and forth game with human lives. The migrants were dumped on the side of the road near the Naval Observatory without any provision having been made for food, shelter, or other basic necessities. They would have been at the mercy of the elements if not for the generosity of local residents and charities, which provided them with shelter, warm clothing, and food. Guess there is such a thing as a Christmas spirit after all, huh? Now, the governor of Texas justified his actions in a cynical letter sent to President Joe 30330 on December 20th, in which he demanded Biden to tighten up border controls and crack down on migration. He feigned concern for the migrants, writing, "With cold temperatures gripping Texas, your inaction to secure the southern border is putting the lives of migrants at risk, particularly in the city of El Paso. Your policies will leave many other in the bitter, dangerous cold as the polar vortex moves onto Texas." His concern notwithstanding, he then proceeded to ship the migrants far to the north, where even colder conditions prevailed. The despicable stunt is the latest in an ongoing fascistic assault on migrants being carried out by Republican governors who have been trafficking refugees fleeing poverty and violence, sending to the Democratic Party-controlled states and cities. Some 15,000 migrants have been shipped out of Texas alone since last April. Now, we saw this stunt happen during the summer, where, again, many of these migrants were sent to areas like Martha's Vineyard, Chicago, New York City, and other areas that claim to be sanctuary cities. But both parties are to blame for this back and forth game in which they're playing with human lives here. I want to pull up this tweet right here, because so far, nothing has fundamentally changed in regards for the needs of people that do need help, be it our own citizens or migrants. Here we have this wonderful person, Matt Stroller, who writes, "Politicians are public servants and we should respect them." Shout out to Sabrina Sabby Sabs. If you're not following her work, please do so. Wrong. Respect is earned. None of them in DC have earned my respect. They respect corporations, not us. Well said, Sabrina. And I want to be very clear on this. Our politicians, they don't like you. They don't think about you. They don't respect you. This sounds like the same rhetoric one would hear from Morning Joe. I put that in there. They do respect corporations. And here's the thing. Respect is earned. Let's have democracy in the chat. Do you respect your lawmaker in Washington, D.C.? Do you respect your U.S. Senator or U.S. House Representative? Type 1 if you respect your politician. Type 1 if you have absolute high confidence in who they are. Type 1 if you believe in the dream of respecting a politician. Type 2. No, they got to earn your respect because they don't respect us. Type 2 if you don't respect them. And you have every right not to respect them because they don't respect you. And as we are once again bombarded with so much of this clown show that we call American politics, we have people like, again, the progressives, who not only play this ongoing rotation game of being the one person not voting or the one person voting for. Here, we have Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the only Democrat to vote no on spending package. Representative AOC was the only House Democrat to vote against the $1.7 trillion omnibus spending package on Friday, voting no on the measure because of increased funding for defense and federal agencies that oversee immigration. Now, she's voted yes a few times, too. I guess today she gets to be the hero. The House passed a sprawling measure in a 225 to 201 to 1 president vote. Sending the bill to President Joe Biden's desk, the Senate passed the bill in bipartisan 68 to 29 vote on Thursday. In a statement Friday afternoon, Representative AOC said she was concerned about the funding of the bill for Migration and Customs Enforcement and the Department of Homeland Security, in addition to $858 billion in defense spending. I wonder if she'll ever do that protest in front of that ICE detention center again. There's nothing stopping her from doing that. Remember that sad face that she was doing? I campaign. Oh, geez. I forgot that she wrote this in here or made the statement. I totally campaigned on a promise to my constituents to oppose additional expansion and funding for ICE and Department of Homeland Security, particularly in the absence of long overdue immigration reform. For that reason as well, the dramatic increase in defense spending, which exceeds even President Biden's request, I voted no on today's omnibus bill. I wonder if she's ever going to really call out the fact that the Biden-Harris administration are still enacting much of Donald Trump's domestic policy, especially those in relation to policies at the border. Probably not. She won't do it. She won't call them out. Remember, the same AOC who said that the Biden-Harris administration is exceeding expectations. All the while, again, we're seeing Democrats and Republicans play their own Game of Thrones with people's lives. These politicians don't like you. They don't think about you, and they don't respect you. And the reason why they don't respect you is because they can lie to you. And for the most part, anyone that's still brainwashed watching corporate media or being tricked by anyone who's a blue check pundit, so long as you have a loyal voting base that will continue to vote for a two-party system designed to screw us over, nothing is going to fundamentally change.